A hazard for the visually impaired. That's how the National Council for the Blind is describing newly installed advertising panels in Dublin city centre. The panels have been erected on footpaths and strong concerns have been expressed about their safety.
Stuart Lawler has been blind all his life and is well used to negotiating the busy streets of the capital. However, he's now found a new obstacle in his way. Large advertising panels have been erected on the city's footpaths, and they're proving to be a major impediment.
This hoarding is right out towards the edge of the pathway, so if somebody is walking around it, they will most likely have to step onto the street. But what is maybe of greater concern to me is the very sharp edges.
The gap underneath the panels is also a problem, allowing a cane to pass through. The National Council for the Blind in Ireland says immediate action needs to be taken.
The edges should be masked to avoid the injury that they could in fact cause, but no other sign should be erected until we all agree to a compatible array of arrangements.
JC were allowed to install the panels in exchange for providing the City Council with tourist signs and 450 bicycles, which will be available for public use from next spring. However, one of its panels has already been taken down for obstructing traffic lights on Dorset Street, and the council says it's now conducting an examination of those on other sites.
That evaluation will be carried out this week and concluded this week. Where we have a difficulty with regard to compliance with the conditions, we will take corrective action in association with JC Deco.
The council says it will now have discussions with the National Council for the Blind about their concerns.
So, Dublin City Council has decided that it will now have discussions with the National Council of the Blind in Ireland. At the time that these signs were first planned, the National Council of the Blind in Ireland made itself fully available for consultation, for advice and for training on the design of these signs and for guidance on what was best practice in the placement of street furniture to avoid any inconvenience to the visually impaired. Astonishingly, the number of consultations that actually took place was none. So what are Dublin City Council's obligations in this matter? Well, under the Disability Act of 2005, they have a responsibility to help to achieve the objectives of the sectoral plan that was laid down by the Department of the Environment for each local authority. Objective 8 is to improve the access of persons with disabilities to streets, pavements, footpaths and street crossings, and access from public roads to passenger transport vehicles. And here's the important thing: through promoting an accessible, barrier-free pedestrian environment. Dublin City Council actually set quite an aggressive target when it came to implementing the requirements of the Disability Act 2005. They claim that they will now lead and facilitate a citywide drive to make Dublin the most accessible city in Europe. So how does the JC Deco scheme fit with this? And how does it achieve this aim of making Dublin the most accessible city in Europe? Let's take a look at one or two examples. This sign, erected on Mercer Street, is less than 100 metres away from the proposed location of a sign that was withdrawn at the oral hearing on the basis that it would never pass a road safety audit. This sign, as you can see, narrows the pavement dramatically. So dramatically that I actually took a tape measure to it. It measures 1.5 metres of clear space. The National Disability Authority mandates that there be at least 1.8 metres of clear space. The reason for this is so that a pedestrian and a wheelchair user can actually pass by. So, perhaps in this instance, as on Dorset Street, Dublin City Council will claim that this was a mistake. Let's have a look at what the planners actually saw. Here's the planning reference if you'd like to look it up, and this diagram is taken from the site plan that was submitted by JC Deco. As you can see, the distance between the sign and the wall is 1.7 metres. This breaches the NDA's mandated 1.8 metres, and as I've shown by measuring it, actually when you get on site there is only 1.5 metres of space that is left. In this location on Rathmines Road, planners weren't even given a site map or even a photo montage to base their decision on, but JC Deco were clearly confident that they could gain planning permission for this sign. And as for Parnell Street, well, this is just ridiculous. So this whole fiasco raises important questions. I would like to see answers to questions such as, has Dublin City Council failed in its obligations under the Disability Act of 2005? And secondly, has it systematically passed planning applications where it is abundantly clear that it is not possible to build these structures in a manner that is consistent with their obligations under the National Disability Authority's guidelines? If you feel as strongly as I do on this issue, perhaps you might support this campaign by emailing the National Disability Authority and asking them to investigate, and equally contacting your councillors and ask them if Dublin City Council has abandoned its vision to be the most accessible city in Europe. Thank you for your support. It will make a difference.